upload. I'll be uploading this to a private or an unlisted YouTube thing, and I'll post it. I'll post the link both on the Global Quilt Connection and Academy and wherever else people need it. I'll post the link. Although I'll have to do it today, otherwise it's gonna have to wait a couple weeks. So we are here because CourseCraft, surprise, is going away, which is a thing you always have to be prepared for when you're not hosting your own content. Although I guess WordPress could also disappear, or maybe, I don't know, any online company could disappear at any time. So it's always nice to own your own content, but sometimes we need the platforms and things, you know, like we're online business owners, we are solopreneurs mostly. We do our own stuff, right? But we need help to do stuff. Like we can't walk to the next travel gig we have. We need an airline. And sometimes one airline goes out and we have to take another one. So a lot of us have been using CourseCraft because it's simple, it's inexpensive. I have been recommending it to beginning teachers, beginning on-demand teachers, just because they have a zero cost entry. So it's a really easy, painless entry to start your first class. But now that they're going, we have to figure out what's next. So I sent most people, I have a PDF, a spreadsheet of research that I did last autumn, September or so, and I have just uploaded that spreadsheet from what I've done in the past few days to a Google Doc. And if you open the chat feature, if you have the link, you can see that. It's an incomplete spreadsheet because there's only so much you can look at in 3 days.
And so, Lyric, do you think that this information is current then, even though you started it several months ago or
Pretty much, yeah. I kind of looked over the rest of the other things as well for the important things. Nobody's price has changed dramatically. So in the Google Drive, I added Zendler and LearnDash, CourseCat, but I couldn't, they're really hard to find information, like detailed information for. So there's different things. There are online.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Yep, mute yourself if that was you. There are online course platforms that do everything, right? And a lot of them, that can be your whole website. It's interesting to look at them and see how robust they are. You can have memberships, communities, all kinds of different landing pages. Some of them, pretty much all of them can manage digital commerce, like if you have patterns or PDFs, anything digital to download. If you have other kinds of products, physical products, I didn't find any of them that really can host those, like a Shopify site can. So, and a lot of them, this time I was looking at, a lot of them have integrated email marketing. So you could do the online course platform and not have to use MailChimp or anything else like that. And having that integrated, if online teaching is your main gig, a lot of those looked really cool. Two of the ones that I looked at, LearnDash and CourseCat, are created as plugins for a WordPress website. So if you already have a website, they're a plugin that allows you to make online courses, but plug them in kind of seamlessly-ish into your WordPress website that you already have. And I seriously considered some of those.
Oh, sorry.
but you have to know a little bit more. I'm going to give a quick overview and then we'll go
Okay.
into details about them. For the way my business is set up, I have physical products, I do travel teaching, I have a lot of different things. So I have a Shopify site that's an online shop that carries my physical products. I have a WordPress website that's been up for 20 years that probably needs to be redone for the 4th time, but I kind of like having it up because it's got 20 years worth of content, right? And then I've used CourseCraft, and the Shopify and the CourseCraft I've plugged into my WordPress just with a simple redirect. So they're not actually entirely integrated. You go to each different place and it has kind of a different look. Ideally for me, I would love it if everything looked seamless, if it was just all at lyrickennard.com, if you didn't have to go anywhere else to do all the other things, but that can be kind of hard. So let's look at what might be, so with a raise of hands, how many of you have your own website outside of your online teaching platform? So a lot of us have that. How many of you sell physical products? Quite a few of them have that as well. Okay, how many of you already have on-demand classes up? Well, most of us came from CourseCraft, right? Yeah. Okay, so those are kind of the things to start from. As I was looking at the things, some of them, like if you don't have any website up, there's a couple of the platforms I'm like, that would be really cool to go to because it would be easy to set up your whole website and have it center around on-demand courses. And a lot of them can integrate with Zoom as well, and you can offer live courses. So they're all different. So let me go ahead and start with the one I've been researching the most. And if you've been researching it too, tell me what you've learned and I'll tell you the pros and cons that I'm thinking about that work for me, and you can ask me questions and maybe I can answer them. I don't know all the things about all the things, so let's pool our resources. So I have been looking at Podia, I don't know how to say it, podia.com, and it does not have a free entry level. It does have a free 2-week trial. So I've been messing around with it, and it's a 2-week trial that you don't have to put in your credit card for, which is good because when I do those things, I never remember to cancel my card, cancel my trial. So it's got a beginner $40 a month, next level $80 a month, and their higher level is $180 a month, and then yearly subscriptions are $390, $790, or $1,790. And it, as I've been messing around with it, it's okay, it's fine. It can build an entire website. It's got integrated email marketing direct from the platform. The reason I've been looking at it the most is I have 28 classes that I need to transfer. And some of those classes have 20 lessons and each lesson has, or 20 sections and each section has 10 lessons to it. I mean, that's a lot of content. And Podia says they will migrate your courses for free. Now I did send them a message and say, really? And they said, yes, if you subscribe for a yearly membership. I did not ask from any platform and how many. So I've got a question into them and I would love to know if they have the answer because I asked that question.
Can I pop in here for just a
Yes.
second? I talked to a couple of platforms like Zendler and Podia, and they only migrate from selected platforms. So you really do have to check that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that. New Zendler will migrate if you are on Teachable or Thinkific. I did ask that question from them. but I haven't gotten that question answered from Podia, although I did use the word CourseCraft in the question I asked. them.
It didn't come up on the list when I looked at their list of which ones migrate. And there was about 6 or 7 on their list that they do migrate from, but CourseCraft was not. And when you put CourseCraft in, it said something like, couldn't find that one or something.
Okay.
But I didn't pay for an annual membership, so I thought, well, you may have to have the annual membership. Sometimes things don't work when you're on the free level.
Right. Well, I don't think Podia has a free level at all. They have it on, they have the
I meant the 2-week trial. I was
trial,
on the 2-week
right.
trial messing around with it. And I did look at that migration, but CourseCraft was not on their list.
Okay, and I wonder, I'm going to ask them specifically, and I'll let you know. So have any of the rest of you researched Podia, and have you got any things? Lisa Walton? Unmute.
Sorry, I've been talking to them. I've had 2 different guys that I've been talking to and asked them. And one of the things that I did say was I mentioned that CourseCraft was closing down, and the guy I spoke to actually didn't know that. The reason I mentioned it was because Sarah had pre-warned me or notified me that, who is it? Offering the discounted
Ruzuku.
ruzuku, yes, which I've sort of looked at, but it's been quite expensive. And Sarah told me that they were going to offer a discounted membership, which came out today. And so I mentioned that to the CourseCraft guy, to the Podia guy, and he said, "Oh, we didn't know that." And I said, "Well, Ruzuku are offering a discounted membership." And I said, "You should possibly suggest that to somebody there as well." And he said, "Absolutely, I'm going to suggest it to our marketing team." So just be pre-notified that there's probably going to be a discount coming out from them as well. But I was talking about that, and I was talking about migrating, and he kept saying, yes, yes, yes. So I have also sent a direct message to them asking if they migrate to Podia from CourseCraft, and I'm just waiting on an answer from that as well. So, I might even get that while this meeting is on. But I was just actually very impressed with their customer service. I have to admit they've been great. Like I have never actually really been satisfied with the CourseCraft customer service. It never quite answered the question that you were asking. They did it nicely, but it was never actually a satisfactory response, or, do you do this or do you do that? And it was like, oh, no, sorry, we don't. Whereas Podia has been answering, within the hour and quite open and friendly. So that's the one I've been researching and the one I'm sort of heading towards. But if they're not going to migrate from CourseCraft, then it's a no-go. But yeah, I just liked, there's a lot of, I've been sort of looking on YouTube, and there's a lot of people doing comparisons between this course and that course, or this course and 10 other course platforms and things. So I think they're also worth looking at, because they've said things and I've gone, oh, I didn't even think about that feature. And they go, oh, okay. So yeah, it's definitely, it's worth, I know we're sort of meeting here to sort of maybe shortcut some of the research, but I think everyone's courses are different and everyone's needs are different. And I think it's really worthwhile just hitting YouTube and saying comparisons.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Ellen.
Also, Eric, this is Lisa. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I want to just mention to everybody too, I'm leaning towards Podia as well. I didn't have a lot of time to research yet, but I'm also waiting until tomorrow. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, they have like a free, like a demo, like a live demo. You can kind of go through all the features. I figured I would go through that, get my questions if there were any left, and then try and decide from there. But I have heard a lot about Podia's customer service. I heard the same thing, that they're very on top of everything. So that's a good feature, I think. So I'm leaning towards them, but after tomorrow, I'll have a better idea. Yeah,
they have like 3 different educational things for their platform users that are live every week. So that's a level of customer service that's really great. Ellen Lindner. And when you want to say things, do this, and we'll call on names. So Ellen and then Jennifer.
Okay, so looking at your spreadsheet, this is a question for all of them. Is there a transaction fee for these guys? I don't see that on here. Like CourseCraft took a certain percentage of your,
It depends on what level you were in.
Yeah, and I can answer that because I've been on Podia for a couple years.
Oh, good.
Oh,
okay.
Tell us about it.
Okay, when I was looking at setting up, getting my courses online, and this was before COVID hit, and I was looking at Teachable. I can't remember if I looked at CourseCraft. I guess I'm glad I didn't. I ended up deciding to go with Podia, and I guess in a way I'm glad because I had complete control over everything. Now, the downside of that is I have to drive all the traffic to it.
Right.
And I got in, my yearly fee is like $649 because I accepted an upgrade. So if you accept the basic, a lot of times they'll offer you a discount if you upgrade. So I'm on the Pro. So whatever the one you said was 700 and some, I get that. Yeah, I get that for $649.
Yeah.
Now, I actually was starting to look at, oh, and part of it was the transaction fee. The only fee you pay is for whether people pay with Stripe or PayPal. So
Yeah.
you're still paying a credit card fee, but not a fee per transaction. So I priced most of my classes at $40 to compete with Craftsy, and I get the full $40 less the credit card fee.
Yeah, that's standard in almost all of the platforms that I've looked at.
Right. And I have been happy with them. I've never actually had to call the customer service. I guess because I have a good enough tech background, I just haven't needed to. And they keep adding features. Here, I'll put my, if you want to take a look. Whoops.
Let me change it so people can share screens. There you go.
Oh, okay. Let me get the right screen up here. I was going to put a link in the, I'll put the link in the chat. So this is my landing page.
Mhm.
And as you scroll down, I haven't worked on this in a long time. I have my little intro, which is part of what I used when we did some of our videos. And then I have each of my classes listed. And when you click on the product, of course, you can buy now. And then I chose to preview a couple of my intro videos so they could see the kind of quality I have and everything. And then, and part of the only downside for me is, and I linked to this site from
Your regular website?
From my website.
Mhm.
So, and my video is on my website too. Let me put this link in the chat. Part of me was looking at considering going to Teachable because over the past year or so, because some of my classes, well, most of them are computer-based. The interest in them isn't as high as more traditional techniques. I have one class that's more traditional. So I haven't been driving traffic there enough to cover my yearly fee. And so with my renewal coming up in January, I was debating, what do I do? Do I really keep this and start driving the traffic here? or go to something like Teachable. And I don't know if I would get more traffic that way or not. I don't know what you all were getting on Craft Course, and I'd be interested in hearing that.
So
But-
there's two different basic kinds of platforms. CourseCraft, Podia, Kajabi, Thinkific, Zendler, all of those are just a platform that they own the platform, but you own the website and you do all the work for it. You do all the marketing, you do all that stuff. Teachable, Skillshare are like Craftsy. You do a class and you kind of own the content, and supposedly they market you. You're on their marketing platform, but you're also competing with thousands of other classes and teachers. I know Vicki Conley was on Skillshare, and it has several classes there. But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, that company could go away like Craftsy did. They decide, Vicki, do they decide how much to charge for your class and when to put it on sale so that you don't get paid as much, or how does that work?
It doesn't work like that at all. It's not like Craftsy. It doesn't go on sale. It is a membership platform where anyone can join. And once you join the membership platform for $14 a month, you can watch any of the 10,000 classes, any of them. And it costs you nothing. It's on Skillshare. And so on the other flip side of that, it's great for a customer because, you know, you can learn Photoshop at the same time you're learning how to write good artist statements or whatever, or learn how to use shortcut video editing. But for the teacher, until you're a big name teacher, you get less than pennies. And I've been with them now for 3 months and I still haven't got the payment thing worked out, because when you get people to sign up with your link, like all your friends at the beginning, you get $10 for that. And of course that's over with after you've asked all your friends to do it a couple of times. They don't want to do it anymore. But I still haven't gotten paid and they haven't gotten back with me on getting that money. And as far as the other regular payments, it's per minutes watched divided by all of the teachers out there and all of the minutes watched in that month. Then they divide that profit up, I guess, based on what percentage of minutes you had people watch your class. So it's very, very low. And so on the flip side of that, I was talking today, and I have a meeting after this meeting with the C&T publishing people that have Creative Spark. And that's where MJ Kinman's classes are. And Lynn Coolish and Valerie Goodwin. And she sent me some of their information, and it's like a 50-50. They take 50% of the charge, but they do market it. Skillshare really doesn't market your course unless you become a big name teacher and you're at the top of what's trending. But maybe C&T would market. So I didn't know if anybody else had any experience with this, but it's 50-50.
Yeah, thanks, Vicki. And C&T is kind of really new to the online class hosting kind of thing. So that is a good thing if you can get in with them to consider, because they kind of just, you give them the content and they kind of run everything in a way. I don't know. Lisa Walton?
I'm just Podia or Podia. They responded within 5 minutes to say, yes, they do migrate from CourseCraft. So I wrote and asked if there was a limit on the number of courses, and that response was 3 minutes. And there isn't, but it's a manual process. So we usually have to cap it at more than 30 unless they are very small.
All right.
30 what? 30 courses? Or
yeah.
30 lessons?
That's great.
So there you go, straight from the horse's mouth.
Oh.
And again, within 5 minutes. So I love good customer service, and that usually is what sends me to any business.
Right.
And it's a person, it's not a
bot. Yeah. I just looked and they answered mine as well with paragraphs. So yeah, they said yes. Carol.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just noticed Sam Hunter's on here. Hey, Sam, who always has such great insights around our business.
She does.
So if you haven't seen her chat notes, you might want to check in on them. I think one of the lessons that I have learned in this past 2 years about where to host your content and who owns it and whatever is that for those of us who are not, I don't even know what a big name would be in our industry anymore, but that I think the downside of going with, anybody who is supposed to market you is that they own that content that you have created. And they are not going to be happy if you decide to offer that same course independently outside of that platform. That's one, I mean, if you have a certain amount of content you want to push that way, thinking, they'll market and see how it goes, great.
Right.
But also make sure that there's no, non-compete kind of thing. I firmly believe that we are all better off going with platforms where, yes, we have to market, but don't be fooled and think that C&T is going to market, anybody on their platform so much that they're going to actually make a ton of money. If your online, on-demand virtual courses are the way you're going to earn your living, I really believe you're better off going with Podia or New Zendler or whoever, Kajabi, whoever, and do your own marketing, build your email list. That's where my revenue has been coming from this past 2 years. And the more I've worked on that, and thank you, Sam Hunter, for all the coaching you've done for free to a lot of us, the better off I've been. I mean, I am so leery now of companies closing and being sold, and you're left in limbo, and where's your content, and who has it, and can you reuse it, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just skeptical, that's all.
Second what she said. Sam, I see your hand raised.
Hey, yeah, I'm a C&T author, and my book came out in 2014, and 6 months after my book came out, when they were trying to borrow things from my book to take to shows, and I said, you guys haven't even given me a Facebook post, they were like, well, we have this new crop of authors now, and I'm just one person in this marketing department, and you're yesterday's news. So, gang, we are responsible for tooting our own horns. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling courses, selling products, selling patterns, lectures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We all have to get better at selling. Like, if you can't get better at marketing, then it's time to find a different job, because
Or just hire somebody who can help.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, hire the people that do the things that make your stomach churn. But I would also strongly suggest that you do whatever you can to own your content. There was a time umpteen years ago where I was going to be doing something with Craftsy. It didn't work out. I'm grateful. I looked at doing it with Interweave. Interweave's contract, that the time they were doing DVDs, had I signed that contract as it stood, they could have put my content online without talking to me.
I was the first book author with Interweave that had a contract that made it so they put my book as an ebook, which means it never went unpublished. So they owned it in perpetuity, even if it never sold again.
Okay.
So I will second, third, cheer on, own your own stuff, do your own marketing, all that stuff. Let's go.
And just if anybody has questions, I'm on LearnDash. LearnDash bolts into WordPress. And Lyric, you emailed me right before this meeting. One of the things that happens when you bolt LearnDash into WordPress, it means that any of the transactions that go through WooCommerce now require the customer to make an account. LearnDash can't operate with guest check-ins lurking anywhere. So then anybody who buys a pattern, a widget, whatever, they have to make an account. The good news I've found is that now that they've made their accounts, their pattern downloads are in their accounts. I have an autoresponder with FAQs when people are like, I can't find my pattern, I didn't get my email, it says go check your account. I'm getting fewer customer service emails on those things now that LearnDash is forcing me to have everybody make an account.
Okay, so that's actually been a good thing for you.
Yeah, and I did not put LearnDash in by myself. I have an amazing web developer. I don't go that far under the hood. So how it bolted in, I don't know. I did that with my checkbook.
Yeah.
So-
Carol.
One other thing I want to mention, I just took a quick glance at your spreadsheet. One other thing, speaking of marketing, whichever platform you end up using or look at, make sure that they've got a robust funnels option. Now, you may not be selling memberships or doing a lot of, email one, and then if they don't buy, they get email two. If they do buy, they get number three and all that stuff today. But if you hire somebody who's going to market for you, that's probably the first thing they're going to suggest, is that you have at least some simple funnels.
Yeah.
And
the platform can have that, or most of the platforms I look in, I have MailChimp that has all of that sub, and it can plug into almost all of the platforms. Although when the platform itself has a robust marketing system like that, I could save myself $60 a month on MailChimp membership and just switch over there. Although I'm not sure I could get that to show up on my Shopify website or my regular website. Actually, I think I did see that Podia had in their email, you can do a newsletter sign up thing, and they do have an embed or a code in system where you can put it on any other page. Jennifer.
I can speak to that. They have coupons. When someone buys one of my classes, I can prompt them for a discount, 20% discount. Do you want to buy this other class? They do have some nice things that way. And what Carol was saying, the comment before, all the things she was talking about was the reason why I went with Podia in the first place. I have complete control over everything. Now, I haven't made a profit yet being on Podia, and that's kind of why I was considering Teachable or one of the others. But after so far listening to this discussion, it's like this, I need to put more time into it. And at $649 a year, it's also just, I don't know, you want to think of it as a cost like your website for promoting things. So if I think of it that way and I have complete control, now I think I'll at least give it another year. And then otherwise I had the same issue all of you on CourseCraft have, is I'd have to move my content. So.
Right. Yeah, and CourseCraft actually has been great. So we're talking about with pretty much anything we go with, we're going to have to market ourselves. And that could be a whole giant class. I mean, there are classes on that. The short of it is build your newsletter, friends. The newsletter is the most important thing that you can have. I would like to move on and talk about some of the other platforms. I can speak to Ruzuku because I moved from Ruzuku to CourseCraft. I paid somebody to copy all my content over. I could go back to Ruzuku really easily because my classes are still all up there. Even when you let your subscription drop, they leave your content up and your students can still get to them, the ones that were registered for it. But you can't continue to edit it or comment anymore. So I could go back. The one thing that stopped, Ruzuku had excellent customer service. They're local to me. I could drive over to their 2-person headquarters and in like 15 minutes. They don't really have a membership option. They don't really have newsletter kind of stuff, but it was really easy. Like with each course, with one click, I could send an email to everybody in that course, or I could schedule emails to go to everybody in that course. And I haven't been able to do that on CourseCraft. So they don't have the big email marketing funnels and things like that. The reason I moved from them is because I can't use my own domain name unless I'm at their university level, which was like $800 more a year just to have my own domain name. And all the rest of them, that's like a simple thing that they do. So I don't understand why. I mean, they have all kinds of other stuff with their upper level on Ruzuku. Like they have a dedicated sales customer support web person who is just to help you on their university level. But I think it's more meant for people who have a whole school with a bunch of teachers and everything. And then they have one person that helps all your people. But I don't understand why they can't just give me my domain name, because that would make it the easiest. So does anybody have questions about Ruzuku? Because I could answer any other questions about them. I really did like them. They were fine. Just I had to send my students to a weird, they couldn't log in to Ruzuku on my website. I had to redirect them, and then I was just so tired of answering emails from old ladies who can't figure out how to click a link and remember their password. It's all good.
That was the primary reason I bolted LearnDash into my site. I figured if I'm sending people to other sites, I'm going to have more customer service issues.
Yeah.
And so far, not that I've sold a lot of classes, I will say that I have not done a good job of doing that or marketing them at the moment, but I'm not getting customer service problems with that one.
Right. And I really didn't have much problem with CourseCraft. I was able to bolt CourseCraft in to mine and have my own URL. Kina.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I was just wondering about Ruzuku as far as that email website streamline. So were you able to embed a link from your website, or did they have to completely were they able to land on your website and get to the course, or was it two completely separate links?
It's been like a whole 2 or 3 years, so I'm trying to remember. I think I built a landing page for all of the stuff, for all my courses on my website, and then each of the links to the pages went to the landing. Like if you wanted to learn more about this on-demand course, they clicked that button and it redirected to the landing page on Ruzuku for that class, and they signed up on Ruzuku. And which also meant that they had to sign up individually. Now, I think you can also have a Ruzuku landing page with all of your courses on it. I don't know. I had the Ruzuku classes for quite a few years, so I can't remember how I set it up. And you know how you set things up before you know how to do things, and then it's inertia instead of setting it up a better and more streamlined way. Like I said, I loved what I was doing with them, but no, they don't have the robust email marketing system built in to Ruzuku. You'd have to.
I wonder if something like Zapier or something would be able to help better integrate that, like, you know, a third-party plugin, because that was my biggest complaint. Yeah, that was my biggest complaint with CourseCraft. Other than that, it was perfect because I am an entry-level business and teacher, but it was just very clumsy with the email. Just very, very, you know, I had my website and then my email and then the course, and, you know, there were 3 places I had to go to make sure everything was everywhere. And that was just the one thing that I didn't like. So I'm wondering if it's better with Ruzuku.
I don't know. I had MailChimp integrated with my CourseCraft stuff. So they kind of automatically went over, and I manage everything through MailChimp. For those of you who don't know, Zapier is a third-party integration that integrates all over the place with so many different online software apps and things. And what you can do, and it makes things communicate. You set up a system where if on this website over here, this student does this thing, it triggers this action where they will get this email from MailChimp, or they will go to this website on Shopify and do this other thing. It's super flexible, but it's also like another $40 a month. So, so that's a thing. Let's talk about New Zendler. And I know, Carol, that's where you're building your new membership academy, right?
Yeah, and Joe is on New Zendler and has been there for a while, I believe.
Joe,
So
why don't you tell us about it? And then
Well, I'll start because my
Okay, good.
perspective is building everything brand new. I was on Kajabi and I decided to do a membership program this year as well as keep some standalone courses. And the first reason I looked seriously at New Zendler was because I saw a couple of other, colleagues who were on it, and I emailed them and they said they loved it. Secondly, I am finding the ease of setting up classes to be amazingly simple. There are great tutorials, and if you just take the time to watch them and take notes, it really is pretty easy to go through. I also noticed that as because I had one full on-demand course with a ton of videos, and I started loading that, actually two. And I noticed that the upload time of the video to my actual classroom was so much faster than even on Kajabi, which was interesting. The only, the thing that's taken me the longest to learn is making the landing pages and the sales pages. And that's because I did not watch a couple of the tutorial videos and pay attention to what it actually freaking said. Once I went back and did that, it's all like falling into place now. I have a little note cheat sheet in front of me to remind me of sort of the sequence of the way the pages are structured, which is really kind of interesting. I use Stripe. I'll be using Stripe, and I might or might not activate PayPal. I probably will go ahead and activate PayPal. And they do the EU VAT thing and all that stuff for you if you like. And that might be especially important for people who sell to a non-US/Canada, whatever, customer base.
That's really important.
So I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. I go live on January 3rd, and I expect things to go okay. And if they don't, it's probably because I messed something up. Oh, and the other reason I went to New Zendler, frankly, well, there were two other reasons. One, I put in the chat about communities, because I don't want to create Facebook groups. I want to keep my community in the classroom. You can set up a separate community for every class or every membership or whatever you want to do. And that, for some socialization. I didn't want to take them anywhere out of the classroom site to do anything. And secondly, it's the price. Kajabi, to get the number of courses, which they call products, I would have been paying, $3,000 or something a year. And I just thought there's got to be another alternative. And Zendler was it. Right now it's $650 a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you use my affiliate link, and Joe may have one as well, that would be lovely. And their prices will probably go up next year.
Oh, for sure. It's beta pricing right now. So if you want that price, you have to get in now and it'll lock it in. They don't have monthly. It's only the yearly subscription.
You can ask a monthly. They will do a monthly figure. You just have to request it.
Okay, it's not listed on their website. And Kina, I could not find anything about a Zapier integration on the Ruzuku website. Joe, what has been your experience with New Zendler?
Yeah, so I've been with them just over a year. I started off with them. I wanted to put my block of the month on there. So that was last October. And it was received really, really well. It sets up really easy, like Carol says. I love how easy it is to set up the courses. The videos load up well. Any issues I've had, technical issues, again, they've been pretty quick at resolving. They're a UK-based company, but their help is based in India. So sometimes there is a bit of a delay in when you get your answer back. But I would say I've always had an answer within about 12 hours. So if you're working on something and you want to post it there and then, and you've got an issue with it and you haven't planned sort of that extra time in, then that could be an issue for you. But normally I'm planning ahead, so that's not an issue for me either. And I think Carol mentioned in the chat as well, they have a very active Facebook group where there's lots of people that help each other out. And I found that to be really, really helpful. Like Carol, my main reason for going there was the price, because I got in at a lower price to what it is now. So I think I pay like $440 a year. I liked it because I could sign up for free to start with and get everything set up before paying them anything. So I kind of tested everything before I even paid any money. I also liked the option of having the EU VAT because I'm based in the UK and I do have customers, in Europe, mainland Europe, which would need to deal with that EU VAT issue. But that only applies to courses that are on demand. So I only list, tick the box for the EU VAT on the on-demand courses. Anything that I include live with doesn't need that anyway. I also like the fact that I don't have to pay for Zoom extra, that's included. So all my live stuff I do via the new Zendler platform, but they use Zoom. So it's got all the functionality, that you're used to with Zoom. This year I've set up a membership on there. So they do that via their bundles and that's how that works. And that had a few kind of technical issues for me to get it running the way that I want to, but they've resolved that. So it's all working really smoothly now. And that's been going, I think I've had that going for 4 months and that's been again well received. My customers love the usability of the site. Just trying to think what else I've got down here. It does all the things like drips and automations and things like that. I think, Lyric, you had a couple of things on the spreadsheet that you didn't have answers to for it, and I could probably answer those.
You mentioned Zoom, and a lot of the platforms can integrate Zoom, but one of them had Zoom membership with it, so you would not have to pay for Zoom for the year.
That is new Zendler. Yeah, I don't pay anything to Zoom. It's all included. You do have some limitations on that, but so far I have not come close to reaching those limitations, so it hasn't been an issue for me.
Right.
I think one of the things you had on there is how easy it is to copy courses. Right. It's very easy. You can clone courses really easily. You can also choose lessons to clone across from different courses and also from the same course. That's really easy to do as well. So yeah.
Do they have payment plans for students? Like if you have a yearly membership or an expensive class, can they?
Yeah, absolutely. You can break that down into monthly payments or just staged payments, however you want to do that. I've done that before for things. So my membership, I've currently just got a monthly payment option there, but if I wanted to, I could have an annual payment as well. So that would be easily done.
How are their analysis and analytics in their reports? Are they?
I can't compare it to anything else because I haven't been on another platform, so it's difficult. I have heard some people say that they don't give them as much information as they would like. The kind of, if you want to see how your customers are progressing through the content, you can do that on a kind of a single basis. So you can go into that customer and look to see what they've viewed in the course. You can see it as an overall kind of pie chart, but you can't really get something in the middle. Kind of if you wanted to, I don't know, see how many people had done this particular class or lesson, you possibly couldn't see that. The sales reporting's okay. Trying to think what else I've used. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably good enough for what I need, so I'm happy with it.
Can you sell add-ons within the class? Like if you have a course and you're teaching a bunch of you're teaching one pattern, can you put other patterns that students can buy and download in the course?
I don't think you can put it in the course, but you can do upsells. So if if they're in the checkout, you can add something you think they might like, and they can buy that afterwards or at the same time as well. So the order bumps and those things. There's something else I was going to say. I think I've forgotten what it was.
Joe, while you're thinking, for those who don't know, an upsell is when somebody's buying course ABC, and then in the checkout page, you can create boxes or options that will pop up that will say, would you like also to buy this? Or this also goes with the course and must be purchased separately, buy that. And so you can have them buy more stuff right in the checkout process, and that's all automated.
Do they, oh, never mind. They do have affiliate codes for both you to sell the platform to others and for your students to get affiliate rewards for your courses, which is always wonderful, people. If you have that option, your fans will share your work with others and they'll get a kickback if they get other people to sign up for your things.
Yeah, you do have to manually pay those out. That's not automatic. Okay. So if you have affiliates, you need to sort of get yourself into a routine of making those payments however often you want to make them.
Can you bundle courses? Like if you have 2 courses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, that's how they recommend you make a membership. So that's how you would make your membership. You would kind of bundle stuff together.
Okay.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I remembered what it was. So one of, was 2 of my courses I run, several times throughout a year. So what I do in order to do that is, so I don't have to clone the course each time. I basically just add a new pricing plan in and set the dates when that's available. And you can set it up so that doesn't affect like the previous cohort. Yeah, the previous cohort. They can see everything just the same. You just have to set the drip up sensibly for it. So yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else have information or questions about New Zendler? All right. What other platforms are?
I'm going to have to pop off because it's getting quite late in the UK now, and I'm struggling to stay awake. But I have put in the chat there link to my website if you want to take a look at how it kind of looks when it's all set up, and the affiliate link, of course. But I'm happy to chat to anybody after this. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me later. I'm in the Quilt Pattern Designer group, so you can catch me there. All right. See you.
Bye, Joe. Thank you so much for coming on. If any of you don't know how to save the chat, you open the chat and there's 3 little dots in the bottom. If you click on those at the very top, it says Save Chat. And when you're done, it will save off the chat in a text format onto your computer, which you then have to go hunt around and find where it saved it. My computer creates its own little Zoom folder, and I just hunt for Zoom. All right, what other platforms are y'all looking at? Anybody? I have also looked at Thinkific, mostly because it can seamlessly integrate with Shopify, and I already have a Shopify site that is linked to my WordPress site, and I keep thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could just move my entire everything over to Shopify so it all looked like seamless and branded and they only had one place to go, although when people click on mine they don't know they're going other places, so it just doesn't look seamless and branded. And Thinkific does have a 0 cost entry level for your first class. It's kind of the same as all the other 0 cost entry levels. You usually get 1 class. They usually charge a fee per student, which is, I think, is completely reasonable for a free level. Because what you do is you make a little bit less for your first class, and then as you make the money, you upgrade your account. And then they stop taking the fee. But what they can do is they have a plugin so that your course is on Thinkific, but people buy it on your Shopify site. It has its own, it's just like part of your shop, your online shop. And you can do variations, like I have the same course that I'm going to teach live 3 or 4 times in a year, and I can set it up with a variation like they sign up for this and then they get a PDF download with the Zoom link and everything, or levels of membership for a Thinkific course. Does anybody here use Thinkific? Kristen, do you want to tell us about it? What's your experience been with them?
I've only set up one class, so I started with the free one. And the reason I chose that over the other one, the one you recommended, the craft one, was because the free course could have unlimited video and the other one didn't. It was really easy to set up. I had my content in a private Facebook group, so I was able to get my class set up in a day. I ended up buying a subscription, the basic plan for $468 a year, because I wanted it to be branded with my domain.
Right.
So that worked well. I haven't had to contact customer support at this point. It integrates with my MailChimp. I've been happy. They did go public about 2 weeks after I joined, and there was a bunch of hubbub in their Facebook group about that, but I haven't had any problems.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to do a live Zoom class though. I think I might have to go up a level for that, and I'm not ready for that.
Okay. With live Zoom classes, just so you all know, you don't have to have your class on a platform at all. Just have a Zoom account. And if you do have a platform, the way you do that is you just set up a landing page, and then when they sign up and pay for it, the first lesson is just the Zoom link and the information for them to log in on your live Zoom day.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, and Thinkific, Kajabi, Podia, and is it Teachable? Those four are like the big four that have been around for a long time. They're really robust. They have all the things. So I've also looked at the videos that compare all those platforms, and they all sound like they do all the things. They're pretty robust.
I just want to pop in and say Zendler has actually also been around for several years.
It's kind of newer than the other one.
Yeah, but they haven't been as well known in our space.
Okay, excellent. Well, there's anything that's kind of still in beta isn't like super well established, but they sound like they're doing really well.
Well, yeah, and there's been a lot of discussion on the Facebook group about why are you still using the term beta? Because they've been in beta using that term for probably, I don't know how many years now. But I want to say one other thing about them, and I'm going to stop talking about Zendler, and that is they actually respond to ideas and requests for new features. It may not be, next month, but like the whole way memberships can be run now, that
Right.
was purely driven by clients saying, we need this, please, we now need this because memberships are becoming so much more popular. Thanks everybody though for all the information.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Does anybody else have other questions? Other platforms? Rachel?
I have, you said you couldn't find information about CourseCats very much. I took the CourseCats and I actually like them very much. I am sort of techie though, so I'm listening to you all and I don't know if this would work for some of you, but basically in CourseCats, you learn how to build your own course platform, and we use MemberPress. So we have a WordPress.org. You have your own website, so you would have to pay for your own hosting wherever you get it hosted. I host mine at SiteGround, so you can get deals at different places. And then MemberPress is only $107 a year. It's not expensive at all. So that's the paywall. And that's where you upload all your, you build your website, and you do have to put your videos somewhere. And I put mine on Vimeo, so I do pay the Vimeo Pro, membership, which is $120 a year. And then you embed them on your website. And the CourseCat is basically just a course on how to build it. They have great support, but I've been with them paying that $497 for a couple of years, maybe more like 3 years. And I'm thinking, why am I paying this? So I just contacted them because I haven't used customer support for so long. And they said, yeah, you can cancel it. It's not a contract or anything. It's just they're there for you if you want them, you need support, you're having trouble with a customer or something, they can help you, and they're very helpful. Their suggestion for web hosting was very expensive, and I reacted and said, I'm going to SiteGround because it's a lot cheaper. So I did that myself, and they were still, they were still very supportive. So basically you could get away with just the price of your WordPress hosting and MemberPress and Vimeo, or if you're really techie and you know how to do it, you could upload your videos to AWS, Amazon. I just haven't done that yet, but it seems to me that this is pretty economical if you can figure out how to do it.
Right. So LearnDash, CourseCraft, or CourseCats, and there was another one that I started looking at, are basically building your own WordPress site. And CourseCats has, you're right. I was thinking it was like a plugin that had templates that you could just use with a theme. So it would be really good. And it did look pretty simple for hosting your own thing. All of those, you just pay for the license to use that plugin thing in WordPress, and you have to pay for your own hosting. Lisa, who got off, she did tell me that when she had her own courses, when she put her own courses in LearnDash, she's hosting her own videos. So she had to really buy a lot more server space in order to host those videos. But Vimeo can do that for you.
Oh yeah.
You can upload
it's
100.
Yeah, you can. It's a huge limit for $120 a year.
Right.
And then Amazon, if you can figure out how to do that, I think it's very cheap, even cheaper than that.
Or even, you can embed YouTube videos in your site and have them unlisted.
And it won't overload your site.
So those are things. That's another thing to pay attention to if any of the online course platforms have limits for how much video they'll store. A lot of them are, a few, the good ones are like unlimited. You can upload as many videos as
you can do a membership site. You can teach, you can have courses, you can have lessons. And then I do my live stuff they pay through that MemberPress, but then I do the live classes on Zoom.
Right. Yeah, it did. So CourseCat looked pretty awesome if you're brand new, if you don't have a website, because you can just build everything simply and have your WordPress website with their tutorials, and they teach you how to easily build the, it's not any harder than setting up classes. I mean, basically any of the platforms or the things that plug into WordPress are drag and drop. You choose which kind of block to put where in which lesson, and they're really not that hard.
And by the way, on SiteGround, you can have hosting for, there's a second level of hosting where you can have multiple websites. So I just made my other website where I sell my quilts. I made that a sort of a sub website of Artful Quilting and Sewing, which is the MemberPress site.
Nice. Somebody else's hand was up. Who was that? Lisa. Sorry, I have my camera light down in front of my computer.
It's fine. It was just a quickie to say that Podia got back to me to say they don't have Zoom integration.
Okay.
But, you know, I've made the suggestion, so maybe in the future they will.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, it's super easy to just put up a advertisement for a live class and use your on-demand platform as the gateway, the payment gateway.
Yeah.
And then again, the first lesson, you just give them all the Zoom information.
This has
Jennifer.
been really great.
I've done-
Just wondering if possibly, could we have a meeting one day about setting up communities and the pros and cons of those?
For sure.
That's something that I've been.
It's a big thing right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing this last year with the Academy for Virtual Teaching. I went there instead of another online platform because I mostly wanted a community that included courses instead of courses where you could add in a community. And it's been a really nice, I use Mighty Networks platform for that. But I don't want to, it's not super cheap. Jennifer, thank you for being patient. I saw your hand up.
Yeah. I've done a couple live lectures on with setting it up as a lecture to purchase on Podia. And in the purchase info, you include the Zoom link. So it's not a tightly integrated to Zoom, but then you record your live event while you give it, and then you upload the video and it's available for replay then. So I didn't find that big of an issue.
Right. It's super easy. For any of you, anytime you teach an online class, a live class, if your students are okay with it, you can record it and then just post the recording and call it an on-demand class and keep charging for it. Super easy. Easy entry into the thing. All right. Anybody have any other questions? I hope this has been useful. I appreciate all the stuff you've been doing. Nanette, I see you.
One of the things that I've been looking at is the payback to the instructor. So when I had CourseCraft, I was at an entry level. 2020 was my first year producing online courses. So I went entry level and they were taking their cut. And then the money went through PayPal and PayPal was taking their cut. And one of the things that struck me when I first was on CourseCraft was they asked, should taxes be taken out of your classes? And I searched for over a year to try to find out that answer and never really clearly got it because it's a state by state, county by county challenge, you know, depending on where you live and or where the student lives. So some of the, to me, the conversation needs to be about how are they paying you? And I heard through another person about Teachable, that question was brought up, and Teachable pays you as a 1099. So you don't have to worry about payment plans or things like that. So I'm wondering, these other platforms, what are they doing? Are they pushing you through a secondary pay system and then you're paying their fees as well? And then who's managing the taxes that need to come out if in fact they need to be coming out?
On CourseCraft and everything I've done, it goes through PayPal or Stripe, and any retailer is going to have to pay credit card fees. There's no way to get around that. And I just managed all my own taxes because it's just my income that then is passed through income for my either LLC or sole proprietorship. Jennifer?
Let me clarify, it's the sales taxes. So the sales tax that gets added on to the course. Right. Everybody's on the government is changing that system from being income-based in the United States anyways, income-based taxes to use taxes. So this is changing right now in front of us, and it's going to become more and more of an issue for us in the future with them taxing video-based product.
Right, and it's all a mess because every state is completely different. And sometimes if you do a large volume of sales in other states, you have to register and pay sales tax in that state instead of being an online.
Exactly.
It's all a mess.
Right. And that's where I thought Teachable was interesting. And hearing that it's more of a Skillshare type of program, which I'm not getting that from their website, researching them, but that they're going to handle all of it because they're accepting the money, they're managing the taxes, they're paying us as 1099.
Yeah, they're paying you as kind of like a contract.
Right.
Employee. Okay, Jennifer, what were you going to
Well, I was going to say, kind of like you, Lyric, I get paid either through PayPal or Stripe, depending on how people choose to pay. And then Stripe automatically puts that into my account. PayPal, I have to go in and say, move it. You know, I hadn't, you brought up a good question. I hadn't really looked at sales tax because it doesn't get, at least my previous purchases, it hasn't been added. So that's actually something I'll have to go back and look at. But
and it's a thing state to state. Like in my state, I got 4 different answers from 4 different official people. And for online classes, it's, well, if there's a live element, it's a service instead of a product. But if it's just like an online video, if you could like download it and sell it as a DVD kind of thing, then it's a product and you have to charge sales tax. And it's just, I just started for North Carolina on CourseCraft. I was able to charge sales tax and collect sales tax on my own for anybody who buys it from North Carolina. Because I just figured I'd better pay sales tax to be safe.
Yeah. And that's why Etsy did what it did last few years. It used to be that we had to calculate any sales taxes that were on the products that we sold through Etsy. And they were mandated by the federal government to handle all that. That's why they're collecting the sales tax and they're remitting it to all the proper channels. So that's
such a
when
nice.
I'm looking at this, it's like I want somebody who's going to manage that for me so I don't have to think about it.
Like if you're here in North Carolina and paying sales tax in North Carolina online, there are 100 counties and you have to pay sales tax to the county that the buyer bought from. Right? It's like, that's impossible for little people like us.
Right, and it's the county as well as the city too. So if I'm selling in Raleigh, I have to pay a different sales tax and remit to Raleigh and Wake County.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of nice if they can get it federalized and if the company can take care of it for you, yay. I love that the one that said they would collect. It's on the other thing. It's not on my paper. One of them says they calculate, collect, and pay your VAT tax if you have international students, which is a huge thing because some say they'll calculate it, but they don't actually fill out all the paperwork and pay it for them. Okay, any other questions? Nope. All right. Well, this is recorded. It'll go up on my YouTube channel. I'm going to put it on Global Quilt Connection and my Academy for Virtual Teaching and in the Quilt Pattern Designers, because I think those are the 3 places I advertised it. And feel free to share it with anybody who needs it. And I'm going to put in a personal plug. If any of you want to upgrade or really get deep into learning more about the tech and virtual teaching, the Academy for Virtual Teaching is opening up a new masterclass in January. So I'd love you to check it out or tell other people about it. And that's a membership. That's the community, right? If you're in the Academy, wave hi. Because the community there is phenomenal, such supportive and amazing teachers that all really build each other up. We appreciate it. All right, as always, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your information. If you want to save the chat, open the chat, the 3 little dots, click those and click Save Chat, because that's not going to save along with the video. And hopefully by tonight, I'll have the video saved off and links posted. And go ahead and share those with anybody that needs it. And keep sharing any research and any experience that you have with different online class platforms. There's really room for all of us here, and it's the rising tide lifts us all kind of thing. So let's all lift each other. So thanks. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, Lyric. This was great. Good information from everybody. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Holidays. Merry Christmas.